My own family plotted to sabotage my store, but I overheard everything in hiding. Daniel Harrison carefully closed the office door, but the sound of raised voices made him stop in the hallway. Through the crack, he could see his wife Jennifer, their 8-year-old daughter Emma, and his older brother Richard gathered in a conversation that seemed far too tense to be casual. "His store needs to go under by the end of the month," Richard said, crossing his arms. "It's the only way to force Daniel to accept the investor's offer." Daniel felt his heart race. He moved closer to the door, pressing his ear against the wood. Jennifer's next words hit him like a punch to the gut. "I've already spoken to the main suppliers. 3 of them agreed to delay deliveries," Jennifer said quietly, but Daniel knew that determined tone all too well. Without the seasonal Christmas products, he won't be able to pay January's bills. The 38-year-old shopkeeper felt his legs go weak. He leaned against the hallway wall, trying to process what he'd just heard. His own family, the people he loved most in the world, were conspiring against him. "Mommy, Daddy's going to be really sad." Emma's voice wavered. "Your mother is doing this for his own good, Emma," Richard replied. "Your father is too stubborn to see he's sinking. The electronics store isn't profitable like it used to be. If he agrees to sell to the commercial group, we'll all have a better life." Daniel covered his mouth to stifle a groan of pain. The betrayal cut deeper than any financial loss. That store in downtown Phoenix was his lifelong dream, built brick by brick over 15 years. Jennifer continued, and Daniel could picture the worry lines between her brows. "The hard part will be doing this without him noticing. Daniel knows every detail of the business. That's why we need to act fast." Richard slammed his hand on the table. "Tomorrow I'll talk to the mall manager about raising the rent. I'll say it's a corporate decision, nothing personal." Daniel's blood boiled. Richard worked in the mall's administration where his store was located. He'd always known his brother had connections, but he never imagined he'd use them against him. "What about the employees?" Jennifer asked. "Barbara and Mike have worked with Daniel for years. They'll notice something's off." "Leave the employees to me," Richard smiled in a way Daniel recognized from childhood whenever he was plotting. Mischief. "I'll make them a better offer at my office. Money always speaks louder than loyalty." Emma stood up from her chair, clearly uncomfortable. "I don't like this. Daddy always says family is the most important thing." Jennifer hugged her daughter. "And that's exactly why we're doing this, sweetheart, to keep our family together and safe. Your father will understand eventually." Daniel stepped back from the door, his chest tight. He walked silently to the kitchen, pouring himself a glass of water with trembling hands. His mind raced, trying to make sense of the madness. 15. Minutes later, he heard their footsteps leaving the office. Jennifer appeared in the kitchen with a smile that now seemed fake. "Hi, honey. I didn't know you were already home." She leaned in to kiss him, but Daniel turned his face away. "Just got here," he lied, forcing a casual tone. "Is Richard still around?" "He already left. Just came by to grab some documents." Jennifer studied him with those brown eyes he'd loved for 12 years. "Everything okay? You seem upset." Daniel forced a smile. "Just tired, long day at the store." Emma ran over to hug him and Daniel held her tight, fighting back tears. How could his little girl be part of this? That night, lying beside Jennifer, Daniel couldn't sleep. Every breath she took, every movement, seemed loaded with betrayal. She got up before dawn and went to the balcony, watching the city wake up. The store was more than just a business. It was the legacy he had built since he was 23, when his father died and left him a small inheritance. He started by selling cell phones from a street stall, saving every penny. When he finally rented his first commercial space, Jennifer was by his side, pregnant with Emma, supporting every decision. What had changed? When had his wife stopped believing in him? His phone vibrated. A message from Mike, his longest-serving employee. "Boss, I need to talk to you urgently." Strange. The folks at LC cancelled today's delivery. Daniel closed his eyes, so it had already begun. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, don't forget to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It really helps us who are just starting out. Now continuing. At breakfast, Daniel watched Jennifer prepare the meal with her usual Efficiency. Scrambled eggs, toasted bread, fresh coffee. Everything normal except for the weight in the air between them. "You didn't sleep well," she remarked without looking at him. "I heard you getting up in the middle of the night." "Just store worries." Daniel cut a piece of bread, chewing slowly. November sales weren't what we expected. Jennifer set down the spatula, turning to face him. For a moment, Daniel saw something flash in her eyes. Guilt. Regret. "Maybe it's time to rethink the business," she suggested softly. "The market has changed a lot. The big chains dominate everything now." "Harrison Electronics has survived 3 economic crises," Daniel replied, keeping his voice steady. "I'm not giving up now." Emma walked into the kitchen, dragging her school backpack, her face sleepy. Daniel pulled her into a tight hug. "Dad, you're squishing me," she complained, laughing. "Sorry, princess. Daddy just loves you so much." He kissed the top of her head, breathing in the familiar scent of her strawberry shampoo. On the way to school, Emma was unusually quiet in the back seat. Daniel watched her in the rearview mirror, noticing how she bit her lower lip, a habit she'd inherited from him. "Everything okay back there?" he asked, stopping at a light. "Dad," Emma started, then hesitated. "If the store ever closes, will we be poor?" Daniel's heart clenched. "Why are you asking that, sweetheart?" "I heard Mom talking to Grandma on the phone. She said you guys were having money problems." Daniel took a deep breath. Was Jennifer really dragging her mother into this? Mrs. Wilson had always been an ally, treating him like a son from day one. "Don't worry about it," he forced a smile. "Daddy will take care of everything, like always." After dropping Emma off at school, Daniel drove to the store, his mind racing with strategies. If his family wanted war, he had to be prepared. The hard part was fighting the people he loved. Harrison Electronics occupied a prime spot on the second floor of Sunshine Valley Mall. Daniel paused before entering, admiring the modern facade he himself had designed. Every detail of that place carried his touch. Barbara was already at the counter, arranging the tablets in the display. At 52, she was more than an employee. She was the living memory of the store. "Good morning, boss," she greeted, but her smile didn't reach her eyes. "Did Mike tell you about LC?" "He texted me," Daniel confirmed. "Anyone else cancel?" Barbara hesitated, nervously adjusting her glasses. Starfield did too. They said something about a credit re-evaluation. Daniel's suspicions were confirmed. Jennifer had already set her plan in motion. But how had she managed to influence such big suppliers? "Barbara, I need to ask you something." He stepped closer, lowering his voice. "Has anyone offered you a job recently?" The woman blushed, avoiding his gaze. "How do you know?" "Intuition. Who was it?" "Your brother," she admitted. "Yesterday afternoon he showed up here saying he's expanding the office and needs someone with experience. He offered double my salary." Daniel felt a wave of anger but held it back. "And what did you say?" "That I'd think about it." Barbara looked up and Daniel saw tears in her eyes. "But you know I'd never abandon the store. I started here when it was just a tiny shop downtown. I've seen this business grow. I've watched Emma grow up. This place is my second home." The employee's loyalty warmed Daniel's heart. "Thank you, Barbara. That means a lot to me." Mike arrived minutes later, his face heavy with worry. The 28-year-old was Daniel's right-hand man in sales. "Boss, things are bad," he announced bluntly. "I called all the suppliers. 6 cancelled their December deliveries. Without the Christmas launches, we'll miss the most important season of the year." Daniel gathered both employees in the back room. It was time to lay his cards on the table. "I'll be honest with you," he began, choosing his words carefully. "We're facing sabotage. Someone's trying to sink the store to force me to sell." "Sabotage?" Mike's eyes widened. "But who would do that? We don't have enemies in the market." Daniel swallowed hard. How could he explain that the enemy slept under the same roof? "It's complicated," he deflected. "The important thing is I'm not giving up, but I need to know if I can count on you." "Always, boss," Barbara answered immediately. "I'm in," Mike agreed. "But how are we going to get products to sell?" Daniel had already thought about it during his sleepless night. "We'll have to get creative. Smaller suppliers, direct imports, partnerships with stores in other cities. It'll be hard work, but it's possible." The day passed in a frantic series of phone calls. Daniel reached out to old contacts, negotiated with alternative distributors, even managed to secure a few small orders. But he knew it was just a temporary fix. By late afternoon, Richard showed up at the store. Daniel saw him approaching on the security cameras and took a deep breath, bracing for confrontation. "Little brother." Richard walked in with his trademark smile, arms open for a hug that Daniel avoided. "How's business?" "Fine," Daniel lied. "Here to shop, or is there another reason?" Richard pretended to be hurt. "Can't I visit my baby brother?" "Actually, I wanted to talk about the rent. The mall management is making some adjustments." "What kind of adjustments?" "A 30% increase starting in January." Richard dropped the bombshell casually. "Inflation, operational costs, you know how it is." Daniel clenched his fists. 30% was an absurd hike, clearly aimed at choking him out. "That's illegal," he protested. "My contract? Caps annual adjustments at 10%. Lawyers, huh?" Richard shrugged. "They always find loopholes, but look, there's a way to avoid this." "Let me guess." Daniel cut him off. "Sell the store to your investor friend." Richard narrowed his eyes. "How do you know about that?" Daniel cursed his slip. "Merchant's intuition. Sharks always show up when there's blood in the water." "It's not like that." Richard tried to soften it. "The business group has a genuine offer. They buy the store, keep the brand, and you stay on as manager with a great salary. Everyone wins." "Except me," Daniel replied bitterly, "who loses 15 years of work and independence." "You're too stubborn," Richard snapped. "Can't you see traditional retail is dying? How many independent stores have closed in this mall just this past year? Mine won't be one of them." Richard shook his head, frustrated. "Jennifer's right. You'd rather go down with the ship than accept help." The mention of Jennifer was like salt in the wound. Daniel had to control himself not to reveal that he knew everything. "If there's nothing else to say about business, I have work to do." He dismissed his brother. Richard stormed out, leaving Daniel even more determined. If his own family wanted to see him fail, he'd prove them wrong. That evening, dinner at home was torture. Daniel watched Jennifer's every move, searching for more signs of betrayal. She seemed nervous, knocking over the salt shaker, overcooking the rice. "How was the store today?" she asked as they served dessert. "Challenging?" Daniel chose the word carefully. "Some suppliers cancelled orders." Jennifer couldn't hide a slight flinch. "Really? Why?" "Good question. I'm looking into it." Emma, oblivious to the tension, chattered about her school's Christmas play. Daniel clung to the normalcy of that moment, memorizing the sound of his daughter's laughter. After Emma went to bed, Daniel found Jennifer in the living room, pretending to watch TV. "We need to talk about money," she began without looking at him. "The bills are piling up." "I'm aware," Daniel kept his voice neutral. "But December has always been our best month. We'll bounce back." "And if we don't?" Jennifer finally met his eyes, and Daniel saw genuine despair in them. "What if this time is different?" For a moment, Daniel almost confessed he knew everything. Almost begged her to stop the charade. But something held him back, maybe the hope she'd give up on her own. "We'll manage," he said. "We always do." Jennifer stood abruptly. "You're in denial, Daniel. You can't see we're drowning while you cling to a dream that doesn't make sense anymore." She left the room, leaving Daniel alone with his thoughts. Was this their marriage? A string of lies and manipulations? The next day, Daniel woke with a new strategy. If he couldn't trust family, he'd seek allies elsewhere. He called Tony, a college friend who now ran an import business in New York. "Dan, long time, man." Tony's cheerful voice brought back memories of simpler days. "Yeah, I've been out of touch. Listen, I need a favor. Do you still work with electronics?" "Of course, it's my bread and butter. What do you need?" Daniel explained the situation, omitting family details. Tony listened carefully. "I can help with some products," his friend promised. "Not the variety of big brands, but good quality. Chinese brands just hitting the US market." It was a start. Daniel thanked him and hung up with a glimmer of hope. Barbara entered the room with a worried look. "Boss, there's a problem. The air conditioning stopped working." Daniel sighed. Another coincidence? He checked personally and found someone had flipped the main breakers. This wasn't an accident, he muttered. The morning brought more hurdles. The online sales system had mysterious technical issues. 2 long-time clients cancelled large orders without explanation. The final blow came when the bank called to review the company's credit line. Daniel felt the walls closing in. Every move he made was anticipated and sabotaged. Jennifer knew the business too well. She knew exactly where to push. At lunch, which he barely touched, his phone rang. It was Mrs. Wilson, his mother-in-law. "Daniel, my dear, how are you?" The 68-year-old's warm voice comforted him briefly. "Hanging in there, Mrs. Wilson. Are you doing okay?" "Worried about you," she got straight to the point. "Jennifer told me you're struggling. Why not accept help?" Daniel closed his eyes. Even Mrs. Wilson was in on it. "What kind of help are you suggesting?" "Oh, sell that store, that's nothing but trouble." "Jennifer told me there's a good offer on the table. You could use the money to start something new, less risky." "You know how much this store means to me." Daniel tried to stay calm. "I do, dear. But sometimes holding on to the past keeps us from seeing the future. Think of Emma, she deserves stability." The mention of his daughter stung. Were they using Emma as an emotional weapon now? "I'll think about it," Daniel lied. "Thank you for your concern." After hanging up, Daniel locked himself in the office. He needed to think, plan, find a way out. But every option seemed like a dead end. Mike knocked on the door. "Boss, there's a customer wanting to buy 3 laptops for his company, but our stock is low, I know," Daniel finished. "We'll have to improvise. See if you can get them from a competitor. We'll buy retail and resell at a lower margin. But we'll lose money that way." "Better than losing the customer," Daniel argued. The rest of the day was a constant battle. Every small victory, a sale here, an alternative supplier there, was followed by new obstacles. Daniel felt like he was trying to empty the ocean with a bucket. At 6 in the evening, as the store was about to close, an elegant woman walked in. Daniel recognized her immediately. Catherine Simmons, a successful businesswoman and one of his best clients. "Mrs. Simmons," he greeted with genuine pleasure, "what brings you in today?" "I came to pick up my order of tablets for the company," she replied with a smile. "I need 50 units for the employees." Daniel froze. Mrs. Simmons' order was one of those cancelled by the suppliers. "About that," he began, searching for words. "We've had a slight delay in delivery." Her smile faded. "Delay? But Daniel, I need those tablets by Monday. They're the company's Christmas gifts." "I'll handle this personally, Daniel." "Promised? You'll have your tablets even if I have to drive to New York to get them." Mrs. Simmons studied him with sharp eyes. "Is everything okay with the store? I've heard rumors." "Just temporary restructuring," Daniel forced confidence. "Nothing that affects our commitment to customers." After she left, clearly concerned, Daniel leaned on the counter. How many more clients would he lose before everything collapsed? Barbara approached. "Boss, can I suggest something? My son-in-law works at a distributor in Denver. Maybe he can get the tablets." Daniel clung to that hope. "Call him, please. Tell him I'll pay up front and pick them up myself." While Barbara made the call, Daniel walked through the empty store. Every shelf, every product represented years of dedication. He remembered opening day, Jennifer by his side, Emma still, a baby in his arms. They had been so happy then. His phone buzzed, a message from Jennifer. "Running late, meeting with Richard's investors, left dinner ready." Investors? Daniel laughed bitterly, probably planning what to do with the store's space once he was forced to give it up. He drove home feeling the weight of the world on his shoulders. He found Emma in the living room doing homework. "Hi, Dad!" She ran to hug him. "Mom called saying she'll be late." "I know, sweetheart." Daniel kissed the top of her head. "How about just the 2 of us for dinner tonight?" During dinner, Emma was quieter than usual. Daniel noticed she barely touched her food. "What's wrong, honey? Didn't you like Mom's cooking?" Emma bit her lip, that familiar, nervous gesture. "Dad, why are you and Mom fighting?" "We're not fighting," Daniel lied. "Why do you think that?" "You barely talk. Mom cries in the bedroom when she thinks I'm not looking. And you always look so sad." Daniel felt his heart break. No matter how careful they were, They couldn't hide the tension from a perceptive child. "Sometimes adults go through tough times," he explained gently, "but that doesn't change how much we love you." "Are you going to separate?" The question came out small, frightened. "No," Daniel pulled her onto his lap. "Never think that. Mom and I might have problems, but our family is forever." Even as he said the words, Daniel wondered if he could keep them true. After putting Emma to bed, Daniel sat on the porch with a beer. The night was hot and muggy, typical for December in Phoenix. In the distance, he could see the lights of the mall where his store was located. Jennifer came home close to midnight. Daniel pretended to be asleep when she entered the bedroom, but watched through half-closed eyelids as she moved silently in the dark. She paused by the bed, and for a moment, Daniel thought she might say something, but Jennifer only sighed and went to the bathroom. The next morning, Daniel woke up with renewed determination. If his family wanted war, he'd give them war, but on his terms, with intelligence and strategy. First stop, the bank. Daniel had a years-long relationship with the manager, Mr. Peterson. Surely he could reverse the review of his credit line. "Daniel," Mr. Peterson greeted him with a handshake, but his smile didn't reach his eyes. "I figured you'd come." "Then you know why I'm here," Daniel said bluntly. "This credit review makes no sense. I haven't missed a payment in 15 years. Mr. Peterson adjusted his tie uncomfortably. "Orders from above, Daniel. Risk assessment in the electronics market. It's not personal." "Not personal." Daniel leaned forward. "How long have we known each other, Peterson? Be straight with me." The manager glanced around, then lowered his voice. "There was an anonymous tip about financial irregularities in your company. Legal ordered everything frozen until it's cleared up." Daniel felt his blood boil. Financial irregularities. His books were impeccable. "What kind of irregularities?" "I can't give details," Mr. Peterson said, looking genuinely embarrassed. "But Daniel, between us, someone really wants to see you ruined. Be careful." Leaving the bank, Daniel had confirmation of what he already suspected. The sabotage ran deeper than he'd imagined. Jennifer and Richard had woven an elaborate web to choke him out. Back at the store, he found a pleasant surprise. Barbara's son-in-law had managed to secure 40 tablets, not the 50 he needed, but it was a start. "Great work, Barbara," he thanked her. "I'll go to Denver to pick them up myself." "Boss, you look exhausted," she observed worriedly. "When was the last time you slept properly?" Daniel couldn't remember. Nights beside Jennifer had become torture sessions, pretending to sleep while his mind raced. "I'm fine," he assured her. "Hold down the fort here. I'll be back by the end of the day." The drive to Denver was a much-needed breather. Alone on the road, Daniel could think without interruptions. How had it come to this? When had the love of his life become his enemy? He remembered the early days of their relationship. Jennifer, freshly graduated with a business degree, full of ideas to help him expand his small shop. She had been instrumental in growing the store, suggesting strategies, negotiating with suppliers, handling finances when he was overwhelmed. Maybe that was the problem. Jennifer knew the business as well as he did. She knew exactly where to strike to do the most damage. Barbara's son-in-law, a friendly young man named Brian, met him at the distributor's warehouse. "Mr. Harrison, I managed to set aside the 40 tablets like Barbara asked," he said, showing the boxes. "It's a new brand, but the quality is good. They've been selling well." "Perfect," Daniel said, inspecting one of the devices. "What do I owe you?" When Brian named the price, Daniel nearly choked. It was far below market value. "Are you sure about this price?" "Barbara said you've been very good to her all these years," Brian smiled. "Consider it a family discount. Besides, if this works out, we could do more business together." Daniel felt his eyes well up. Amid so much betrayal, Barbara's loyalty and Brian's generosity were a balm. On the drive back, his phone rang. It was Mike. "Boss, we have a problem. Richard showed up here with a court officer. They want to inspect the store." "Inspect?" Daniel pressed the accelerator. "On what grounds?" "A complaint about counterfeit products." Mike sounded indignant. "You know we've never sold anything pirated." Daniel took a deep breath. Richard was turning up the pressure. "Don't let them touch anything until I get there. I'm an hour away." "Boss, there's more." Mike hesitated. "Jennifer is here too." Daniel's heart raced. Jennifer at the store with Richard and a court officer. The situation was escalating fast. He drove as quickly as caution allowed, his mind racing through possible scenarios. When he arrived at Sunshine Valley Mall, he saw a small crowd gathered in front of his store. Some neighboring shopkeepers watched curiously. Richard stood at the entrance, talking to a man in a suit holding a clipboard. Jennifer stood further back, arms crossed, avoiding Daniel's gaze as he approached. "What kind of circus is this?" Daniel confronted his brother. "Just following the law," Richard replied with false innocence. "There's been a serious complaint. The officer is here to verify." The suited man introduced himself. "Mr. Harrison, I'm Inspector Williams. We need to examine your inventory and documentation." "Gladly." Daniel kept his cool. "But I'd like to see the warrant and the specific complaint." While the inspectors searched for the documents, Daniel took the chance to approach Jennifer. "You had to be here for this," he whispered. She finally met his eyes, and Daniel saw conflict in them. "I came to try and keep things from getting out of hand." "So as keep them from—" Daniel laughed bitterly. "You're causing this." "You don't understand," Jennifer started, but was interrupted by the inspector. "Mr. Harrison, shall we proceed?" Daniel guided the inspector through the store, showing every document, every invoice. His records were impeccable, as always. The inspector grew increasingly embarrassed as he found nothing amiss. After 2 hours of thorough inspection, the inspector apologized. "Everything is in order, Mr. Harrison. Sorry for the inconvenience." Richard looked furious at the outcome. "Are you sure you checked everything? What about those tablets he brought in today?" "How do you know about the tablets?" Daniel confronted him. "Are you spying on me now?" "I don't need to spy," Richard shot back. "Everyone knows you're desperate, buying products of questionable origin." Daniel took a step toward his brother, fists clenched. Mike and Barbara quickly intervened. "Boss, it's not worth it," Mike held his arm. "Listen to the kid," Richard taunted. "Violence won't save your failing store." "Enough!" Jennifer stepped between the two brothers. "Richard, let's go. Now!" She pulled Richard by the arm, but not before casting one last look at Daniel, a look he couldn't decipher. After they left, Daniel leaned on the counter, exhausted. The public humiliation, the attempt to frame him. How far would his family go? "Are you okay, boss?" Barbara brought him a glass of water. "I'll be fine." Daniel drank gratefully. "Thank you for everything, Barbara. Your son-in-law saved the day." "You've saved plenty of my days over the years," she replied simply. "It's the least I can do." Mike approached with the tablet. "Boss, online sales are back up. And look, 3 new orders just came in." Small victories, but Daniel embraced them. Every sale, every satisfied customer was another brick in the wall against his family's sabotage. The rest of the day passed in relative calm. Daniel managed to complete the 50 tablets for Mrs. Catherine by purchasing the remainder from a competitor, even at a loss. When she came to pick up the order, she was impressed. "You kept your promise despite the difficulties," she remarked. "That says a lot about your character, Daniel." "You're a special client," he replied. "I'd never let you down." Mrs. Catherine hesitated before leaving. "Daniel, if you need help, financial or otherwise, you can count on me. I admire people who fight for what they've built." The unexpected offer moved Daniel, but his pride spoke louder. "I really appreciate it, Mrs. Catherine, but I'll manage." She nodded understandingly. "The offer stands." When the store closed, Daniel was alone organizing the inventory. The silence was comforting after such a chaotic day, but he knew it was just the calm before the next storm. His phone rang. Unknown number. "Daniel Harrison?" A professional male voice. "Yes, who's speaking?" "My name is Robert Thompson, representing Eagle Commercial Group. I'd like to schedule a meeting to discuss a proposal to acquire your store." So this was the famous investor. Daniel took a deep breath. "I'm not interested in selling." "I understand your position," Robert continued smoothly, "but market conditions are changing rapidly. Our offer is very generous considering the current circumstances." "The circumstances you created yourselves," Daniel thought bitterly. "My answer is still no." "Mr. Harrison, I'll be frank," Robert's tone hardened slightly. "This may be your best chance to walk away from this situation with dignity and some capital. The alternatives could be less favorable." "Is that a threat?" "Not at all," Robert returned to his professional tone. "Just a market observation. Think it over. My card is with your brother, in case you change your mind." Daniel hung up, feeling nauseous. The pressure was mounting from all sides. He arrived home to an odd atmosphere. Jennifer was in the kitchen mechanically preparing dinner. Emma was watching TV but didn't seem to be paying attention. "Hey, family," he tried to sound normal. Emma ran to hug him, squeezing too tight. "Dad, you're late." "Sorry, sweetheart, tough day." Jennifer didn't turn around. "Dinner's almost ready." During the meal, the silence was oppressive. Even Emma, usually chatty, ate quietly. "How was school today?" Daniel tried. "Fine," Emma replied without enthusiasm. "Dad, Lucas's mum said she saw police at your store today." Jennifer dropped her fork. Daniel closed his eyes, taking a deep breath. "It wasn't the police, honey. Just a routine inspection." "But why? Did you do something wrong?" "No." Daniel and Jennifer answered together, then exchanged surprised glances. "Your dad would never do anything wrong," Jennifer added, turning her attention back to her plate. After dinner, Daniel helped Emma with her homework, math his strong suit. While explaining fractions, he momentarily forgot his troubles. "Dad, you're the best teacher," Emma smiled, like a ray of sunshine on a cloudy day. "And you're the best student," he kissed her forehead. When Emma went to bed, Daniel found Jennifer in the living room staring out the window. "We need to talk," she said without turning. "I agree." Daniel sat down, keeping his distance. "Why are you doing this, Jennifer?" She finally faced him, tears in her eyes. "Do you think this is easy for me? That I want to see you suffer?" "Then, why?" His voice cracked. "Why are you conspiring with Richard to destroy everything we've built?" Jennifer's eyes widened. "How did you—" "I heard," Daniel confessed. "In the office, the three of you plotting my downfall. I heard every word." Jennifer's face lost all color. She staggered to the couch, burying her face in her hands. "How long have you known?" "From the beginning." Daniel felt a bitter satisfaction. "I saw you sabotage every supplier, every attempt I made to save the store." "You don't understand," Jennifer sobbed. "Richard said it was the only way, that you'd never accept help willingly." "Help?" Daniel stood up indignant. "You call this help? Destroying my reputation, humiliating me publicly." "The store is going under, Daniel," Jennifer exploded. "You refuse to see it, but the numbers don't lie. We're drowning in debt." "Debt you created by sabotaging sales." "No!" Jennifer stood up too. "The troubles started long before. You just don't want to admit you failed." The word failed hit Daniel like a slap. He stepped back, hurt. "Is that what you think of me, that I'm a failure?" Jennifer seemed to regret it immediately. "I didn't mean it like that." "Yes, you did." Daniel felt years of resentment spill over. "You know the worst part? It's not Richard's betrayal. He's always been envious. It's you, Jennifer. My wife, my partner, turning your back on me. I just want what's best for our family. Destroying the father in front of the daughter is what's best." Daniel pointed to the hallway where Emma slept. "She's terrified, thinking we'll split up." Jennifer started crying again. "I never wanted it to come to this. Richard said it would be quick, that you'd accept the offer in a week." "And you believed him?" Daniel laughed humorlessly. "Richard could never accept his younger brother being more successful. He's using you." "That's not true," Jennifer defended weakly. "He cares about us. He cares about the commission he'll get from the investor," Daniel revealed. "Did you know that? That he gets a cut if the sale goes through?" By the shock on Jennifer's face, she hadn't. "That's a lie." "Call Robert Thompson and ask," Daniel challenged. "Ask how much your dear brother-in-law stands to pocket." Jennifer picked up her phone with trembling hands but didn't call. The doubt in her eyes said it all. Even if it's true, she tried to recover. "It doesn't change the fact that the store is failing." "The store was surviving until you started sabotaging it," Daniel shot back. "It wouldn't make us rich, but it would support our family with dignity. Dignity doesn't pay the bills. And betrayal does." Daniel stepped closer. Look me in the eyes, Jennifer. Look me in the eyes and tell me it's worth destroying. Our marriage for money. Jennifer held his gaze for a few seconds before looking away. It's not about money. It's about security, the future, giving Emma a better life. Emma had a great life until you turned her father into a failure in the world's eyes. Daniel's voice thickened. Today she asked me if I'd done something wrong. My 8-year-old thinks I'm a criminal. Jennifer shrank. I never meant... What did you mean, Jennifer? Daniel cut her off. When you plotted with Richard, what did you imagine? That I'd just accept it, say thank you, and we'd live happily ever after? I imagined you'd finally be free, she whispered. Free from stress, from worry, from sleepless nights. We could start over. Start over? Daniel shook his head. How do you start over on lies and betrayal? Jennifer had no answer. Silence fell between them, the weight of years of destroyed trust hanging in the air. I'll sleep in the office, Daniel announced. Tomorrow, I'll decide what to do. Daniel, wait. Jennifer tried to grab his arm, but he pulled away. I need to think alone. In the office, Daniel collapsed onto the small couch he kept for late nights. But sleep didn't come. His mind replayed every moment of their marriage, searching for signs he'd ignored. Jennifer had always been ambitious. It was one of her qualities. But when had ambition turned to greed? When had support become manipulation? His phone buzzed. A message from Mike. Boss, good news. I managed to get in touch with a new distributor. They agreed to supply us with payment in 60 days. A glimmer of hope. Daniel replied, thanking them and asking to close the deal. He spent the night crafting a battle plan. If his family wanted to see him fall, he'd go down fighting. He made lists of contacts, backup strategies, and ways around every obstacle. By sunrise, Daniel had a plan. It wouldn't be easy, but it was possible. He showered and changed in the office bathroom. When he stepped out, he found Emma in the kitchen, fixing cereal by herself. Good morning, Princess. Where's Mommy? In the bedroom. Emma didn't look at him. She cried all night, I heard her. Daniel knelt beside his daughter. I'm sorry about that. Adults sometimes fight, but it'll pass. Are you getting divorced? The question came again, more urgent. We're not, Daniel hugged her. I promise we'll work this out. Emma hugged him back, and Daniel felt the weight of responsibility. He couldn't let the war with Jennifer destroy their daughter's childhood. Jennifer appeared minutes later, eyes swollen, dressed for work. Good morning, she said formally. Good morning, Daniel replied in the same tone. They had coffee in awkward silence, Emma glancing between them. I'll take Emma to school, Daniel announced. But it's my turn, Jennifer protested. I want to talk to her on the way. She seemed ready to argue, but gave in. Fine. In the car, Emma was livelier. Daniel played her favorite songs, and they sang together, creating a bubble of normalcy. Dad, she said when they stopped at school. No matter what happens, I love you so much. I love you too, Princess. Daniel swallowed the lump in his throat. More than anything in the world. He watched Emma enter the school and sat in the car for a few minutes, collecting himself. Then he called Barbara. Good morning, boss. How are you? Barely hanging on, Barbara. I need you to organize a meeting with all the employees today. I have a plan. At the store, Daniel got a surprise. Tony, his importer friend, was waiting with a big smile. I came to deliver in person, he announced. Brought a van full of products, a friendship reopening gift. Daniel nearly cried. Tony, I don't know how to thank you. Don't, his friend patted his shoulder. Remember when my business almost went under 5 years ago? You lent me money, no interest, no deadline. I'm returning the favor. With Mike and Tony's help, they unloaded boxes of smartphones, tablets, and headphones. All alternative brands, but good quality. This changes everything, Mike was excited. At these prices, we can compete with the big chains. Daniel gathered the small team. Besides Barbara and Mike, there were 3 part-time salespeople. I know the last few weeks have been tough, he began, and it'll probably get worse before it gets better. But I'm not giving up on this store, and I hope I can count on you. We're with you, boss, Barbara spoke for everyone. Great. Here's the plan. Daniel unfolded a city map. We'll do what the big chains don't. Go to the customer. Mike, you take the North Zone. Barbara runs the store, I'll handle businesses. Like door-to-door sales? A part-timer asked. Exactly, Daniel confirmed, but modern. We'll bring demo tablets, close deals on the spot, and deliver same-day, personalized service. The team warmed to the idea. Daniel assigned territories, set goals, and created an aggressive commission system. We'll turn our weakness into strength, he concluded. We're small, so we can be agile. The day was a productive whirlwind. Daniel visited offices, offering corporate packages. The response was better than expected. 3 companies placed orders immediately, impressed by the personalized service. Mid-afternoon, he got an unexpected call. It was Inspector Williams who had conducted the inspection. Mr. Harrison, can I speak frankly? He seemed uncomfortable. Of course. I know I shouldn't call, but I was bothered by yesterday. The complaint was clearly targeted, be careful. Thank you for the warning, Daniel said sincerely. There's more, the inspector lowered his voice. I found out 3 more complaints were filed. Health inspection, fire department, city, taxes. Someone really wants to bring you down. Daniel closed his eyes. Richard was using every possible resource. I know who it is, he murmured. Then get ready, the inspector advised. And Mr. Harrison, good luck. Daniel returned to the store with renewed urgency. If more inspections were coming, everything had to be flawless. Barbara, I need all permits and documents organized. Mike, check every fire extinguisher, every emergency exit. We can't leave any room for mistakes. He worked late, reviewing every detail. When he finally stopped, he realized he'd lost track of time. It was almost 10 at night. Jennifer had sent several messages. Where are you? Emma is asking for you. We need to talk. Please come home. Daniel sighed. As hurt as he was, he couldn't abandon Emma. He arrived home to find Jennifer in the living room, a half-empty bottle of wine on the table. Emma? He asked. Asleep. She waited for you until she couldn't stay awake anymore. Jennifer's voice was slurred. You're drunk. Just a little tipsy, she corrected. I needed courage for what I have to say. Daniel sat down cautiously. I'm listening. I was wrong, Jennifer began. Terribly wrong. I let fear control me, let Richard manipulate me. Go on. But you were wrong too, she stared at him. You shut me out, ignored my concerns. It became a battle of pride. My pride didn't sabotage suppliers, Daniel shot back. No, but it kept you from seeing the real problems, Jennifer leaned forward. The store was struggling before we started. Before I made that stupid mistake. Daniel wanted to deny it, but something in Jennifer's drunken honesty stopped him. Maybe, he admitted, but that doesn't excuse it. It doesn't, she agreed. Nothing excuses what I did. But Daniel, I was desperate. I watched you work yourself to death, coming home later and later, more stressed. Emma barely saw her father. I did it for you. I know, tears streamed down her face, but at some point the means became more important than the end. The store became more important than family. The words hit Daniel hard. Was it true? I love you more than anything, he defended. I know you do, Jennifer tried to touch his hand, but he pulled away. That's why it hurts so much to watch you destroy yourself out of pride. It's not pride, Daniel stood up. It's principle. That store represents everything I've built, everything I am. No, Jennifer also stood unsteady. You're so much more than a store. You're a father, a husband, a good man. The store is just a store. That's easy for you to say. Easy? Jennifer laughed bitterly. Do you think it was easy to betray the man I love, to lie every day, to see the disappointment in your eyes? Then why did you do it? Because I thought it was the only way to save you from yourself. She collapsed onto the couch. Richard convinced me you'd never quit on your own, that you had to be forced, and you believed him. I was vulnerable, Jennifer admitted. Tired of being the workaholic's wife, of raising Emma practically alone, of pretending everything was fine. Daniel felt the weight of her words. There was truth in them, no matter how much it hurt to admit. I always provided for you. Except your presence, Jennifer whispered. Except your attention. Except you. They fell silent, the weight of years of unspoken resentment between them. What do we do now? Daniel finally asked. I don't know, Jennifer confessed. But I know. I don't want to lose you. I don't want Emma to grow up in a broken family. You should have thought of that before. I know, she sobbed, but we can't change the past, only decide the future. Daniel observed her, seeing beyond the woman who had betrayed him. He saw the young woman he'd met 15 years ago, full of dreams. He saw the devoted mother, the partner in so many battles. I need time, he finally said, and I need the sabotage to stop immediately. It already has, Jennifer assured him. I told Richard today I won't be part of it anymore. And him? He was furious. She trembled. Said I was weak, that I was ruining everything. Threatened to go on alone. Daniel clenched his fists. I'll have a talk with my brother. No. Jennifer held him back. Promise me you won't do anything impulsive. For Emma. Daniel took a deep breath. For Emma. Always for Emma. I'll sleep at the office again, he announced. Tomorrow we'll talk more calmly. Jennifer nodded sadly. Daniel, I love you. Even if you don't believe it now, I never stopped loving you. He left without answering, his heart in turmoil. The next day, Daniel woke with renewed determination. If Jennifer had truly left the conspiracy, he had a chance to turn things around. He arrived early at the store and found Mike already setting up a product demonstration. Boss, I've got good news, the young man was excited. I managed to schedule presentations at 2 private schools. They want tablets for their students. Excellent work, Daniel patted his shoulder. It's this kind of initiative that'll save us. The morning was productive, steady sales, customers pleased with the personalized service. Daniel began to believe it could work. Then Richard showed up. We need to talk, he announced, without preamble. We have nothing to talk about, Daniel continued helping a customer. Richard waited impatiently until the customer left. Jennifer said you two talked. So? She's being emotional. Richard stepped closer. You know the investor's offer is the best way out. Best for who? Daniel faced him. For you getting a commission? Richard had the decency to look embarrassed. That's a detail. I'm thinking of the family. No, Daniel controlled himself from shouting. You're thinking of your own pocket. It's always been like this since we were kids. Don't be dramatic. Dramatic? Daniel laughed humorlessly. You sabotaged my business, manipulated my wife, tried to frame me, and I'm the dramatic one. I did what needed to be done, Richard defended himself. You're too stubborn for your own good, and you're too greedy, Daniel shot back. How much did Robert Thompson promise you? 10, 15%? 20, Richard admitted. But it's not about that. 20%, Daniel calculated mentally. With the offer he made me, that's almost 200,000. Is that the price of betraying your brother? Richard turned red. It's not betrayal, it's business. Get out of my store, Daniel ordered. And if you try any more sabotage, I'll go to the police. I have proof of everything. You don't have proof of anything, Richard tried to bluff. Daniel picked up his phone and played a recording. It was Richard's voice talking to the inspector about bringing Daniel down. Inspector Williams is more honest than you, he revealed. Recorded our conversation and sent it to me. Want me to show it to Internal Affairs? Richard paled. You wouldn't do that. I'm your brother. Daniel corrected. Now you're just another vulture trying to feed off my work. This isn't over, Richard threatened as he left. I hope it is, Daniel replied. I'm tired of fighting my own family. Barbara approached after Richard left. Sorry to ask, boss, but all this tension, is it because of the store? Daniel considered lying, but Barbara deserved the truth. It's complicated. Family issues got mixed up with business. I understand, she said simply. Family can be a blessing or a curse, sometimes both. Barbara's simple wisdom comforted him. That's true. You'll get through this, she said with conviction. I've seen you overcome worse. The day continued with ups and downs, some good sales but also suspicious cancellations. Richard hadn't given up completely. In the afternoon, an unexpected visit. Mrs. Wilson, his mother-in-law. Daniel, she hugged him tightly. I've missed you, my boy. Mrs. Wilson, he returned the hug cautiously. What brings you here? Jennifer told me everything, she revealed. I came to apologize. Daniel led her to the back room. You've done nothing wrong. Oh, but I have, she insisted. I supported Jennifer in that foolish plan. I thought it was for your own good. Everyone thought that, Daniel said bitterly. But we were wrong. Mrs. Wilson took his hands. Daniel, you're the best son-in-law I could ask for. Hard-working, honest, dedicated. Forgive me for doubting you. Her sincerity touched him. You're forgiven, Mrs. Wilson. Now listen to me, she said seriously. Jennifer made a terrible mistake, but she loves you. She's truly sorry. I know. You don't know anything, she gently scolded. You didn't see her crying herself to sleep, didn't hear her calling herself every name in the book. My daughter is heartbroken. She betrayed me. Yes, Mrs. Wilson didn't deny it. She made a huge mistake. But Daniel, in 15 years of marriage, this was her first serious error. Doesn't that count for something? Daniel thought about it. It was true. Jennifer had always been a loyal partner until this recent madness. I don't know if I can trust her again. Trust can be rebuilt. Mrs. Wilson squeezed his hands. With time, patience, and love, you have all three. I don't know if I do, Daniel confessed. I'm so tired, Mrs. Wilson. Tired of fighting, of proving my worth, of swimming against the tide. Then stop, she suggested. Stop fighting alone. Accept help. Not from Richard or investors, but from those who truly love you. How? Jennifer told me about your door-to-door sales plan. Mrs. Wilson smiled. Brilliant. But you need more people, don't you? How about an experienced saleswoman? You? Well, retired doesn't mean dead, she winked. I sold Beauty Plus for 30 years. I can convince anyone to buy anything. Daniel laughed, his first genuine laugh in days. It'd be an honor to have you on the team. Great. I start tomorrow. She stood up. And Daniel, don't give up. On my daughter. She may have chosen the wrong method, but her fear was real. Fear of losing you to work, to stress, to an early heart attack. Her words echoed in his mind after she left. Daniel returned to work, but his thoughts wandered. By the end of the day, sales had been decent, not spectacular, but enough to keep things running. Mike was optimistic. If we keep this pace, we'll be in the black by January, he calculated. It's a start, Daniel agreed. As he left the store, he found Jennifer waiting in the parking lot with Emma. Hi, Jennifer said hesitantly. Emma wanted to see you. Dad! The girl ran into his arms. I missed you. I missed you too, Princess. Daniel held her tight. Can we have dinner together? Emma asked hopefully. Mum said it's up to you. Daniel looked at Jennifer over their daughter's head. She seemed vulnerable, hopeful, and scared all at once. Of course, he decided. How about pizza? Emma's face lit up. Pizza, can I pick the flavor? Always, Daniel set her down. Go ahead and get in the car, we'll be right there. Emma ran off, leaving her parents alone. Thank you, Jennifer said softly. It's for Emma. I know, she accepted. But still, thank you. At the pizzeria, they managed to create a bubble of normalcy. Emma chatted about school, friends, and holiday plans. Daniel and Jennifer responded, smiled, and interacted like the family they used to be. Dad, are you spending Christmas with us? Emma suddenly asked. Daniel choked on his pizza. Christmas was 2 weeks away. Of course I will, he answered, after recovering. But you're not sleeping at home, Emma observed, with the cruel perceptiveness of children. It's temporary, Jennifer intervened. Daddy has a lot of work at the store. Emma didn't seem convinced, but let it go. After dinner, they went back home. Emma ran to her room to grab something. Want to come in? Jennifer offered, at least to say good night to her. Daniel agreed. The house smelled like home, like memories, like everything he was at risk of losing. Emma returned with a drawing. I made this for you, Dad, to put in the store. It was a drawing of the family, him, Jennifer, and Emma holding hands in front of the store. At the top, written in careful letters, Harrison family, together forever. Daniel felt his eyes burn. It's beautiful, Princess. I'll frame it and put it in the place of honor." After putting Emma to bed, complete with a story, Daniel got ready to leave. "Wait," Jennifer stopped him. "Did your mother come here today?" "She went to the store," Daniel confirmed. "Offered to help with sales." Jennifer smiled weakly. "Typical. Of her, always practical. Jennifer," Daniel started, then stopped. "What?" "Your mother said things about fear, about me working myself to death. Is it true?" Jennifer bit her lip. "Do you want the truth?" "Always." "Yes," she confessed. "Your father died of a heart attack at 50. You're almost 40, with the same profile. Workaholic, stressed, neglecting your health. I have nightmares about it." The revelation caught him off guard. "You never told me." "You didn't want to hear it," Jennifer wiped a tear. "Every time I brought it up, you said you were strong, that you could handle it. But Daniel, no one can handle it forever. So you decided to break me before I broke myself?" "It was stupid," she admitted. "Desperation disguised as strategy. But the fear is real." Daniel stepped closer, closing the distance between them for the first time in days. "I won't die, Jennifer." "Promise?" She looked at him with the eyes of a scared child. "I promise to try," was the most he could offer. Jennifer accepted, knowing it was progress. Daniel left with a lighter heart. There was still hurt, still distrust, but there was also love. Messy, bruised, but love. The next day, Mrs. Wilson showed up at the store at 8 sharp, dressed professionally and carrying a briefcase. "Ready to work," she announced. "Mrs. Wilson." "About payment," Daniel began. "No money," she cut in. "I'm doing this for the family. Now show me the products and prices." Within an hour, Mrs. Wilson had memorized the entire catalog. In 2, she had a list of 50 potential contacts. In 3, she'd already closed 2 sales over the phone. "You're a force of nature," Mike admired. "I learned by selling lipstick," she winked. "Electronics are easier, they don't smudge." Her presence changed the energy of the store. Barbara and Mike got excited, competing playfully to see who could sell more. Daniel found himself genuinely smiling for the first time in weeks. Mid-morning brought an unpleasant surprise. The mall landlord showed up with an eviction notice. "Eviction lawsuit," he announced awkwardly, "for unpaid rent." "What unpaid rent?" Daniel protested. "I paid everything on time." "It says December." "Wasn't paid." Daniel checked the receipts. He was right. He'd paid everything. "This is a mistake." "Or sabotage," Mrs. Wilson whispered. The landlord reviewed the documents. "You're right. There's been a mix-up. I'll fix this. Sorry for the trouble." After he left, Daniel called the accountant. He discovered someone had tried to cancel the rent payment, but the bank blocked it for lack of authorization. "Richard doesn't give up," he murmured. "Then?" "We don't either," Mrs. Wilson declared. "By the way, I just closed a sale for 5 notebooks to a law firm." His mother-in-law's determination was contagious. Daniel returned to work with renewed energy. The day continued with small victories. Tony called to confirm a new batch of products. 2 longtime customers came back, saying they preferred the personalized service. A school placed an order for 20 tablets. By late afternoon, Daniel did the math. They had exceeded the daily target for the first time in weeks. "We're turning things around," Mike celebrated. "One day at a time," Daniel tempered. But he was smiling. Mrs. Wilson left at 6. "Tomorrow I'm bringing my friend Margaret. She's retired too, loves a good challenge." "Mrs. Wilson, are you turning this into a job agency for retirees?" "Why not?" she shot back. "We have experience, connections, and free time, the perfect combination." Daniel hugged her. "Thank you for everything. Take care of my daughter," she whispered. "And let her take care of you." That night, Daniel went straight home. He found Jennifer making dinner, Emma doing homework at the kitchen table. "Hi," he greeted hesitantly. Jennifer turned, surprised. "Daniel, I wasn't expecting you." "I thought I'd have dinner with my family," he said simply. Her smile lit up the kitchen. "There's always room for you." Over dinner, Daniel talked about the day, the sales, Mrs. Wilson revolutionizing the store. Jennifer listened intently, asking questions, offering suggestions. "You know," she said as they washed dishes together, I always liked this part, working together, being partners. I've missed that too, Daniel admitted. Can I help? Jennifer offered cautiously. It doesn't have to be at the store. I can handle the accounting from here, do the digital marketing. Daniel considered it. Jennifer was great with numbers and marketing. Let's take it slow, he decided. But yes, I'll take the help. Her smile was worth any risk. They spent the rest of the night planning strategies. Jennifer suggested Christmas promotions, partnerships with local influencers, a loyalty program. Daniel contributed, refined, felt their old synergy returning. This could work, Jennifer said hopefully. It could, Daniel agreed, if we work together, really together this time. No secrets, she promised, no manipulation, just us against the world, like it used to be, Daniel wanted to believe so badly. I'll keep sleeping at the office, he warned. I need more time. Jennifer looked disappointed but understanding. I'll wait, as long as you need. The next day, Mrs. Wilson didn't bring one friend, she brought 3. All retired, all experienced saleswomen, all excited for the challenge. Daniel, meet the senior squad, she introduced with a laugh. Margaret, Teresa, and Dorothy joined the team. Within hours, the store felt like a call center with constant calls and scheduled visits. This is turning into a phenomenon, Mike A. observed, amazed. It was true. The story of the electronics store saved by retirees started spreading. Customers came just to see and ended up buying, moved by the women's contagious energy. Jennifer showed up midday with a laptop. Brought this. I set up social media profiles for the store. Look. Daniel saw the professional pages, creative posts, attractive promotions. This is amazing. Wait, she showed more. I filmed the saleswomen in action. With their permission, of course, posted it as Tech Grannies. It already has 1,000 views. Mrs. Wilson loved it. Famous on the internet. Who would have thought? The video went viral locally. People shared, commented, tagged friends. Foot traffic in the store tripled. By the end of the week, Daniel and Jennifer crunched the numbers. They were promising. If we keep this up, we won't just survive. We'll grow, he calculated hopefully. It's a Christmas miracle, Jennifer joked. It's hard work and creativity, Daniel corrected, but he smiled. Richard showed up on Saturday visibly annoyed. What kind of circus is this? He gestured at the grannies helping customers. It's called innovation, Daniel replied calmly. Something you wouldn't understand. You're making a mockery of the family name. No, Daniel stood up. I'm saving my business with dignity. You're the one who tried to destroy your own family for money. Richard scoffed. The investor is withdrawing the offer. He said he doesn't want to be associated with this circus. Great, Daniel smiled. One less thing to worry about. You're an idiot, Richard spat. You'll regret this. The only regret I have is trusting you, Daniel shot back. Richard stormed out, stomping his feet. Mrs. Wilson approached. Has your brother always been like this? Worse, Daniel admitted. It used to be worse. The weekend brought record sales. The senior squad had won the town's heart. People came from distant neighborhoods to shop and meet the famous saleswomen. On Sunday night, Daniel brought pizza home again. It was becoming a tradition. Daddy, are you going to sleep here again? Emma asked bluntly. Daniel looked at Jennifer, who held her breath. Soon, sweetheart, he replied. Daddy just needs a little more time. But will you come back? She pressed. I will, he promised, watching Jennifer blink back tears of relief. That night he stayed late. He helped Emma with her homework, watched a family movie, and savored the taste of what they'd almost lost. Stay, Jennifer pleaded as he got ready to leave. Please. Daniel hesitated. The office couch was uncomfortable. His back ached, but his heart begged him to stay. Not yet, he decided, but soon. Jennifer accepted, knowing each day was progress. The last week before Christmas was frantic. Sales skyrocketed, fueled by the saleswomen's fame and Jennifer's creative promotions. Daniel barely had time to breathe between customers, deliveries, and management. But it was a good exhaustion, productive, rewarding. On Thursday, the day before Christmas Eve, something unexpected happened. Robert Thompson, the investor, appeared in person at the store. "Mr. Harrison," he greeted formally, "what you've done here is impressive." Here to gloat, Daniel kept his guard up. "Quite the opposite," Robert surprised him. "I'm here to propose a partnership, different from before." Daniel led him to the private room, curious despite his distrust. "I'm listening." "Your strategy with the senior saleswomen is brilliant," Robert praised. "Revolutionary even. I'd like to replicate it in other cities, create a network." "I'm not interested in selling. I'm not proposing a buyout," Robert clarified. "An investment. You keep control. I provide capital for expansion. Fair terms." Daniel considered. It was tempting, but why the change? Before you wanted to break me. Robert looked embarrassed. "I was misled. Your brother painted a picture that didn't match reality. I apologize for my part in that." "Richard's out of this?" "Completely," Robert confirmed. "I don't work with people of questionable character." "I'll think about it," Daniel said after a pause, "but thank you for your honesty." Robert left his updated card. "I'll be waiting. And Mr. Harrison, congratulations. Few could have achieved what you did." After he left, Daniel shared the news with the team. Mrs. Wilson was the first to weigh in. "Accept," she advised, "but on your terms. You've proven your worth." Jennifer, following along by text, agreed. "You deserve to grow. We deserve it." On the 23rd, Christmas Eve, the store was buzzing. Last-minute shoppers, urgent deliveries, grateful customers. Around noon, Emma arrived with Jennifer. The little girl carried a wrapped gift. "Daddy, I brought your Christmas present," she said proudly. "But Christmas is tomorrow," Daniel reminded her. "This one's special," Emma insisted. "Open it." Daniel carefully unwrapped it. A frame with her drawing and 2 movie tickets. "So we can watch together," Emma explained. "As a family." Daniel hugged her tight. "It's the best gift I've ever gotten." Jennifer stepped closer. "Daniel, we came to get you. To spend Christmas at home. As a family." He looked around. The store was full but under control. The team smiled encouragingly. "Go," Barbara said gently. "We've got this." "Family comes first," Mrs. Wilson winked. "Always." Daniel grabbed his things, his heart light. "Let's go home." In the car, Emma sang Christmas carols. Jennifer drove, casting hopeful glances. Daniel felt something had changed, healed. At home, the Christmas spirit took over. Decorated tree, presents underneath, the smell of French toast, in the air. "I missed this," Daniel confessed. "We missed you," Jennifer replied. They spent the afternoon decorating cookies, preparing dinner, being a family. Emma was radiant with her parents together. That evening, after the special meal, they sat around the tree. "Time for presents," Emma announced. They exchanged gifts. Toys for Emma, perfume for Jennifer, a watch for Daniel. But the real gift was being there together. "I have one more present," Jennifer said nervously. She handed Daniel an envelope. He opened it curiously. It was partnership papers for the store, officially making Jennifer a 30% owner. "I don't understand." "It's my investment," she explained. "I had some savings. I want to be a real partner in good times and bad. No secrets, no sabotage. True partners." Daniel felt his eyes burn. "Jennifer, do you accept?" she asked vulnerably. "I do." He pulled her into a hug. "I accept it all. The partnership, the investment, our life together." Emma jumped on them. "The family's together again." Hugging all three, Daniel felt the true Christmas miracle had happened. Not in record sales or unexpected success, but there in that triple hug that represented everything worth fighting for. "I love you," he declared emotionally. "We love you too," Jennifer and Emma replied together. That night, Daniel slept in his bed beside his wife in their home. The nightmare was over, turned into a lesson. So on Christmas Day, they had lunch with the whole family. Mrs. Wilson, the saleswomen who'd become friends. Even Richard showed up, awkward but trying to reconcile. "Sorry, bro," he muttered in the corner. "Greed blinded me." "You're forgiven," Daniel decided. But trust needs to be rebuilt. I know, Richard accepted. I'll try. Over lunch, they made plans. The store would keep growing, but with balance. Jennifer would handle digital expansion. The senior saleswomen would become a trademark. Robert Thompson would be contacted to negotiate a fair partnership. A toast, Mrs. Wilson raised her glass, to family, fresh starts, and second chances. To family, everyone cheered. Daniel looked around the table. His wife, his daughter, his mother-in-law, his friends who were like family. The nearly lost store was saved. The nearly broken marriage was stronger. The nearly shattered family was whole. You know, he told Jennifer later as they washed dishes together, maybe we needed this crisis. For what? To remember what really matters, Daniel kissed her. To learn to ask for help, to appreciate what we have. It was a high price, Jennifer reflected, but worth it, he concluded. In the end, worth it. Emma hugged them both. This was the best Christmas ever. And there'll be many more, Daniel promised. Many more. Outside, the Christmas night sparkled with stars and promises. Harrison Electronics had survived. The Harrison family had been reborn, and Daniel had learned the most important lesson: success without family is no success at all. In the days that followed, routine settled in. Daniel woke at home, had breakfast with his family, went to the store with renewed energy. Jennifer worked part-time from home, revolutionizing digital marketing. Online sales skyrocketed. The tech. Granny's story became a regional sensation. Interview requests came daily. We're getting too famous, Mrs. Wilson joked. Well-deserved fame, Daniel replied. You didn't just save the store, you saved my family. In the first week of January, Daniel met with Robert Thompson. Jennifer was there as an official partner. Our proposal, Daniel began confidently. We accept investment to open 2 new branches. We keep 70% control. You bring capital and expansion expertise. Robert reviewed the numbers Jennifer had prepared. Impressive projections. Based on what? The senior saleswomen model, Jennifer explained. There's an untapped niche, retirees with experience, energy, and a need to feel useful. Brilliant, Robert admitted. I accept the terms. They sealed the deal with handshakes. Harrison Electronics was about to become a small chain. We did it, Jennifer celebrated in the car. We did it, Daniel corrected. Together. They stopped at a red light and kissed like teenagers. By February, the first branch opened. Mrs. Wilson personally trained the new team of senior saleswomen. Success was immediate. Emma watched with pride. My dad's the best businessman in the world, and your mum's the best manager, Daniel added. The girl hugged them both. And I'm the happiest daughter. Richard reappeared occasionally, trying to rebuild the relationship. Daniel kept a polite distance, but Jennifer was firmer. He almost destroyed our family, she argued. But he's family, Daniel reminded. He deserves a second chance, with boundaries. Slowly, very slowly, the wounds began to heal. In May, they opened the second branch. The senior saleswomen model had proven not just viable, but revolutionary. We're changing lives, Margaret said emotionally, not just selling electronics. It was true. Dozens of retirees found renewed purpose. Customers received personalized, warm service. The whole community benefited. It's more than a business now, Daniel reflected to Jennifer. It's a movement. The best kind of business, she agreed. At Emma's birthday party in June, they celebrated big. The store was stable, the family united, the future bright. Make a wish, Daniel said, as Emma blew out the candles. Already came true, she revealed. I wanted my family together and happy. Jennifer and Daniel exchanged emotional glances. The child's wisdom outshone the adults. A year after the crisis, Daniel took stock. 3 thriving stores, a marriage stronger than ever, a reunited family, and work-life balance. Know what I learned? He said during a romantic dinner. What? That sometimes we need to almost lose everything to appreciate what we have. He held her hand. That pride can destroy more than any crisis. That family is everything. And that asking for help isn't weakness, Jennifer added. Especially that, he agreed. They toasted to the future, the lessons learned, and the love that weathered the storm. Barbara, their loyal ally, was promoted to general manager. Mike became sales supervisor. The tech grannies became a trademark, complete with merch. "Never imagined this at 70, Mrs. Wilson laughed. "Becoming an entrepreneur." "You always were," Daniel corrected. "Just needed the opportunity." The relationship with Richard remained complicated. He eventually found his own path, away from his brother's shadow. At family lunches, they spoke superficially, the hurt still there but fading. "Time heals," Jennifer mused. "Time and forgiveness," Daniel added. Emma grew up surrounded by love and resilience. Sometimes she asked about the hard times. "Why did Uncle Richard try to hurt Daddy?" Daniel chose his words carefully. "Good people sometimes do bad things, out of fear, greed, envy. What matters is learning and forgiving." "Did you forgive him?" "I'm learning too," he admitted. "Honestly?" The girl hugged her father. "You're so good, Dad. I'll learn to forgive too." In December, exactly 2 years after the crisis, Daniel called a special meeting. He gathered the whole team, family, and friends at the original store. "I want to thank you," he began, emotional. "Every single one of you who believed when all seemed lost, who fought when it would have been easier to give up, who taught me that real success is built together." Emotional applause filled the room. Jennifer wiped away quiet tears. Emma jumped with pride. "We have a surprise," Jennifer announced. "Daniel doesn't know yet, but..." A banner unfurled. Harrison Electronics, Family Business of the Year. An award from the local business association. Daniel was speechless. Public recognition of what they'd built from the ashes of near destruction. "Speech!" everyone shouted. He started, choked up. "2 years ago, I thought I'd lose everything. The store, my family, my dignity. Turns out I was right, but not how I imagined." He paused, collecting his thoughts. "I lost toxic pride. I lost the need to do everything alone. I lost my narrow view of success. And I gained so much more." He looked at Jennifer, Emma, Mrs. Wilson, every salesperson. "I learned that family goes beyond blood, that true partnership overcomes any challenge, that asking for help is strength, that second chances exist for those brave enough to change." Jennifer joined him, linking her arm with his. "This award isn't mine," Daniel continued. "It's ours. Everyone who believed, who worked, who never gave up. We're more than a business. We're a family, and family is forever," Emma called from the crowd. Laughter and tears mixed. Hugs were shared. Harrison Electronics had become more than a store. It was a symbol of resilience, unity, and the transformative power of love and teamwork. That night, Daniel slept peacefully. Not on the office couch, but in his bed, beside his wife, in the home full of love he'd almost lost. In the next room, Emma slept hugging a framed drawing of their family. Together always, a promise kept against all odds. The store thrived, but more importantly, the family had grown stronger. Scars remained, reminders of lessons learned, but scars also prove healing, survival, victory. Daniel had started this journey alone, fighting his own family. He ended it, surrounded by love, support, and understanding. The sabotage meant to destroy him became the trial that united them. Sometimes life's worst moments hide its greatest blessings. Daniel learned that the hardest way possible, but he learned, and that lesson was worth more than any financial success. Harrison Electronics would keep growing, more branches would open, more retirees would find purpose, more families would be served with care and dedication. But the true legacy wasn't in numbers or revenue. It was in living proof that love, tested to its limits, grows stronger. That family, nearly lost, becomes even more precious. And that, sometimes, just sometimes, you must almost lose everything to discover what truly matters. The end. Dear listener, what did you think of this family turnaround? Would you forgive like Daniel? Have you been through something similar? Share in the comments. We love reading your stories. If it moved you, leave a like and subscribe for more uplifting tales. Thank you for staying with us till the end.